So, I would like to try and elucidate a little bit of this idea that I've been thinking about. Um, so, basically, it deals with the fact that the situation in our world as the beings that we are, we can possess certain wisdom or knowledge. We can, dare I say it, even be an enlightened person, but I would say it more accurate to say we can have an enlightened perspective. And yet, in spite of that, we will behave in ways that are contradictory to such, that see us acting in ways that are utterly incompatible with what it is that we say and seem to know about what this world is and how we should best behave within it. I think, well, it seems to me that it's very hard to escape this state of affairs, this paradox, if you will. How one can say, know one thing, and with their actions, with their life, do the other, something else entirely contradictory. And I think the essence of why this is lies in the fact that as a human being, animal moreover I would say, exists within this world, we have certain limitations that are placed on us. So there is, as I see it, paradox is our very nature. It's who we are. There's an incompatibility that's fundamental to us between what we're able to perceive and what we're able to actually be. I think in this world we're limited by our animal bodies. So what I'm pointing to here, I guess, is the sort of truth of something like Gnosticism, that this is a fallen world, a corrupted world, and that what we fundamentally in essence are, even if it's just a kernel or a spark, it derives from what the Gnostics would call the supreme reality, an ideal world. And by ideal I mean I'm pointing towards idealism, by which is meant that things are, true reality is the substance of something more like imagination. That reality is something more like a thought, it's a mind, mental in its nature. It's insubstantial. It lacks the density of matter. Blah. Anyway, density of matter, and that is, I guess, in a word, what the nature of this limitation is that's put upon us. It's matter. The density of matter. We're always going to be limited by the constraints of the material world, and the knowledge, the truth that we might find are destined to be wholly incompatible with such. It's common, in the spiritual path, the spiritual journey, to arrive of such ideas that can be best summed up as something like universal love, this oneness feeling. But actually embodying that within the world in which we live, it's very difficult to do, because, well, in the first place, one is immediately confronted by the fact that there is an undeniable state of separation, of distinction between things. Boundaries are everywhere. And one might enter into the world with the intention to embody this love, universal love vibration, say. But at each and every turn, one is going to be met by different degrees of hostility and a lack of reciprocity, because the state of this world is that people are abiding in and thoroughly rooted in this sense of distinction and differentiation. People, things with which we interact, they perceive themselves as something alone, isolated, individual, and certain thoughts, feelings, and so behaviors are going to naturally run downstream from such. One of the foremost ones is fear, which is deriving from a sense that it derives from a sense, a need of self-preservation. There's many threats that exist in this world, and there's no reason why you, anyone else is trying to embody some universal love vibration wouldn't be similarly regarded as being a threat to another person's self-preservation. The default knee-jerk response to such a person, typically in this full and dense material world, is that, oh, what's this person's angle? What are they trying to get out of me? Where's the trick here? When they're going to stab me in the back? And you see it, you can see it even with interactions with animals, wild animals. With a human might approach a wild animal with kindness and love and a wish to help it, but you see that the animal just is naturally fearful and distrustful of you. Why shouldn't it be? This is a world where life devours life in order to sustain itself. And even as a human embodying this love vibration, we can't deny the reality of such. And this is the natural and unavoidable, inevitable contradiction that is arising, that I'm trying to point to. Even if I feel like everything is love and everything's one, how can I justify or make sense of the fact that in order to sustain my own life, I have to take the life of something else? And yeah, you could be a vegan, but if you look into it, a little think about it, you're still engaging in the food chain. You're still taking a life. And those plants that you're consuming to sustain your own life are themselves being sustained by the lives of other creatures, of other beings, specifically the ground up bones, organs, and blood matter of those beings. So this is all stuff I've been thinking about, and I think about it a lot in terms of like the limitations that I have and that I observe with other people, just on the level of like personal problems. You know, they're like, you can observe that someone is wise, they have wisdom, they're in a sense what might be regarded as like high vibrational, say. But at the same time, if one spends long enough around this person, they will observe inconsistencies, many inconsistencies, usually weird sort of idiosyncratic behaviors that are a bit like icky, and they seem this like unconscious behaviors that you would observe in someone that's devoid of wisdom. And I think that these things they're immutable, basically. No matter what stage as a human of wisdom we might arrive at, inevitably some vestigial remnants will always be there, echoes, because we are bound to this material world in which things are as they are, as I've described a little bit in the course of this recording. A lot of conditioning, a lot of baggage from childhood, and the things we pick up from our parents. It's weird behaviors that never really seem to go away. A lot of like what seems like ego-based stuff, you know, trying to like defend opinions in a like very emotional way, not really on the basis of any kind of reason, being there reactive, defensive, being prideful, being envious, jealous. There's always like echoes of these things that I've observed in people that should know better, right? And they do know better. If you would speak to these people about these things, bring it up, draw it to their attention, they would be like, yeah, I know, I agree with you. But nonetheless, the thing persists because it's part of limitations that are foisted upon us within this realm. In many esoteric traditions, they say that our lives are governed by the stars. They have there's an astrological determinism to them. And like these icky traits that I'm pointing to, these are all the manifestations of the different, the influences of the different planetary bodies on this person. This is their astrological predetermined fate. You know, that's what makes the person who they are and determines the course of their life. One can't step outside of the immensity of this determinism. It's much bigger than they are, and it was all written before they themselves were. What I say we can do at most is just become aware within the confines of these limitations, and that's pretty much what I see playing out.